Woo, and we're live.
Okay, so we are live, and I'm just going over to YouTube to make sure that the current resolution, there we go. So yeah, I see the delay, so I'm not even going to look at YouTube.
Yep.
Because you're right, there's that delay there, so I'll just focus on the conversation here, but I will put this in a separate tab so I can see if people are commenting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to record this. Yeah, like, well, so if, I know we're live, but if this is going live, YouTube is also recording this for my channel.
That's correct.
Perfect. Then I don't even need the extra software. All right. Cool. So I think that's it.
You've done well.
All right. We're live. And yes, so I am with my YouTube friend, DirtFishMish from Australia. And this is the first time we've ever met in person.
Yeah, this is wild.
In what, a year and a bit?
Yeah. And what better way to initially connect with someone you've known online than to throw it out to the entire universe?
Yeah, that's right.
Love it.
Just
Dive
testing
in the
the
deep end.
friendship, throwing it out there, see what happens. Yeah, so I was trying to even think about the first time. I don't even know how. I was trying to look back on our messages for the first time we ever talked. I didn't even know that started. I think I must have just been looking up fellow, people like myself who were passionate about, treasure hunting or bottle hunting or metal detecting, and came across you. And then, yeah, it's, but yeah, sorry, I'm talking a lot. Tell me about yourself. I know you've told me a lot, but maybe, yeah, tell me about, who you are, what you do, and why you like doing it.
Yeah, no worries. I'll just quickly say hi to Dawn too in the chat there. How you going? Yeah, me, right. So, well, I'm pretty normal and boring and ordinary behind the camera. But yeah, metal detecting something I picked up a couple of years ago. And as you know, we've had a whole lot going on the last few years.
Yep.
And in the height of the pandemic, 3 months in, all of my workplaces closed, so I had literally nothing to do. So I thought, okay, well, I might just pick up I bought a secondhand GoPro and took it down to the beach and thought I'd just start recording some of my adventures. And then I thought, oh, well, why not chuck up one on YouTube and see how we go with that? And, it had a reasonable reception, certainly among the detecting community I was already chatting with.
Yeah.
And it just took off from there. So I just made more and more friends, made you as a friend, not that far into it at all, really. And yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. And our it's been really cool to watch your growth. Like, kind of being there on the ground level, I was acquaintances and then becoming friends. And and even my youngest son Owen, he was like, "Who's your friend from Australia?" Mish. And he's like, "I want to see her someday." So yeah, I've spoken very fondly about you to my family, and yeah, it's really just cool to see this YouTube growth for you, and you're killing it, in my opinion. And I've learned a lot about metal detecting. Like, I haven't done it yet. My neighbor and I, we were just talking about, I think I'm gonna rent one. I'm gonna try it out and then go on my property here, because it used to be an old farm a long time ago.
Yep.
So that sounds like ripe for metal detecting. And yeah, I think, and there are some weird rules around metal detecting in Nova Scotia, but I think on your own property, I should be fine. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, unless it's like something like an artifact that they need to, tear apart my land or something.
Well, hopefully they don't do that. Yeah, no, it's our rules out here in Australia. I don't feel that they're as strict as what you've got over in Nova Scotia. There's certainly areas I can't go.
Mm.
Most national parks, a
Yeah.
lot of historic areas,
Mm.
and it kills me because I live in an area that is surrounded by some pretty significant history.
Mm.
I can't touch any of it,
Are
but
there
that's
are there like I guess there's rule breakers in any profession or hobby, but I'm sure there's people out there who are digging up stuff maybe they probably shouldn't be, or
yeah.
yeah. Have you got like messages from people to like, hey, you should go check out this spot, and you look into it, you're like, no, like it's just not. Or how do you like if you're at a spot and then you find out, do you always know ahead of time what like the rules are going to be, or is it kind of like,
Yeah, look, I try to work it out before I go somewhere, especially if it's somewhere that's not local. Like, I live in the same area I grew up in, so I've got a general feel of where I can and can't go around here. But yeah, when I'm traveling, I try and look ahead, and I guess it's just a case of being
hmm,
courteous too. Like, if you're not sure, you think it's okay, but you're not 100%. Like, obviously, if you get pulled up by anyone, just be polite. Just if they ask
yeah,
you to move on, yep, no worries at all.
yeah, yeah,
Obviously being in such a public position, uploading all my hunts to YouTube,
yeah,
you want to model best practice. You want to show the responsible and respectful side of the hobby and encourage others to do the same.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
Hi there, Dive and Detect.
Yes, hello to Dive and Detect. It's going well. Thanks for stopping by.
So they're
I
a couple who go detecting in the water.
Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that has been one of the most said things to me is why don't you metal detect underwater? And I keep saying like because I snorkel and free dive, I don't have a lot of time. So I don't want to be duck diving and detecting. And you and I've talked about different apparatuses for me, and that might
Yep.
work. It's all about just trying to figure out if I'm looking to get maybe a second opinion from a doctor about scuba in the future. Or if I get a device that like Nemo or Nomad that allows me to stay under, you know,
Yeah.
is that going to be safe for me? Because like it's not really worth it to lose my hearing um, in my right ear. I've already
Of
lost
course.
half of it. So, um, but again, like if I'm underwater, like for what I'm doing now, and I'm equalizing fine, then I think that would be perfect for me. So yeah, I kind of wanted to get through this year without anything, and then next year maybe ramp it up with something that allows me to stay under and do a whole new level of searching, like underwater metal detecting. But it's interesting. Like I love bottles. Like
Yep.
and you don't need a metal detector for bottles. So
That's
and
true.
and I've just gotten so used to like searching for them and looking for the shapes. I've actually got one that I wanted to share. I don't know if I showed you this one. This is my oldest one that I've ever found.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So this is made in England, J. Bourne and Sons, and it was like an inkwell, and it was in my lake that I live on. I'd been searching
Wow.
for a year
And it's
uh,
right under
in
your nose.
in the ocean, and yeah, it was just sitting right in front of me. Anyway, I just love the history of bottles, and coins are interesting. I did find a couple coins this past weekend, but like I found them snorkeling in a water pool, like in a pool at a waterfall. So
Yeah.
pretty easy spot. Yeah. Oh, hello, Starry's Lost and Found.
Yay, Starry. How's it going, man?
He's the most encouraging, like one of the most encouraging YouTube accounts. So I just want to say that, and thanks for stopping by.
Yeah,
Um,
it's awesome. Like two, we both have different hobbies. They're very similar hobbies in nature. It involves a lot of patience, a lot of
yeah,
searching. And yet we just have this most interesting crossover of viewers too. I've noticed that, like I know all of these names in this chat. You no doubt know all of these names in this chat too.
Yeah.
It's just really cool that we're just sort of uniting those two hobbies. And look, hopefully one day, just as you want to have a go with a detector, like I've been looking so hard for bottles in the waters I go in. I haven't had much luck at this stage, but I've got a few areas I want to try. They've just been really murky at the moment, so I haven't been able to really get in them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because, like, there's got to be bottles. Like, do you live near like lakes or close to the like? Obviously, so it's just ocean, beach. Yeah, and usually like those kind of beaches, unless they're coves or fishing coves, there's finding a bottle is going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, I think where we really differ, like I look at a lot of your footage, and a lot of the properties are built right on the waterfront, and as you say, you've got lakes and the like as well. A lot of the properties where I am are pretty far back from the water.
Yep.
So there wasn't a whole lot of, take the bottle out of the house and throw it in the nearest waterway, because it actually would have involved a bit of a trek first.
Right.
So there's no doubt like land bottle digs around me. And it's not something I've hunted for a great deal. So there's definitely room for checking that sort of thing out as well.
You have found a bottle, right? Though
I've found a couple just sort of here and there, just randomly.
Okay.
Even I think might have even been before I started YouTube. I found this really cool sort of 1960s, 70s soft drink manufacturer bottle, and it was sort of back in the day where they would deliver the soda to you. I say soft drink. I think you guys say soda.
We say pop.
You say, oh, okay. Let's just throw another one in the mix. But yeah, they used to deliver the bottles to you. You drink them, but then you would actually return the empty bottle for your refill.
Right.
So yeah, it was sort of from that era. It still had most of the print on the bottle too, which was really, really awesome. So
would there be any like areas in Australia where there would be like long time fishing villages or coves? Like in Canada, like especially Nova Scotia, it's been, we've had like the Acadians coming here. We've had like the Vikings have come to Newfoundland.
Wow.
So there's a lot of history, and then the Mi'kmaq people have been in North America, a lot longer before, colonization and all that. And there's just like so much history, and the English, the Irish, Scottish, Welsh, came over and settle all these towns and villages all along our shore. And it's like any town I pick and any cove I can go in, I know there's gonna be something.
Wow.
And I just was curious if that was the case, like, in Australia, if there's parts of Australia where that might be kind of similar to East Coast of Canada.
I guess we just don't have as extensive a history. So, we've certainly got plenty of Aboriginal history, but that didn't involve bottles or metallic items. That sort of thing really was toward the end of the 1700s for Australia. And certainly where I am, there's only 100, 150 years tops of history.
Okay.
So it is, a relatively new area. In terms of fishing coves and the like, I mean, fishing has been going on for 100 years or more where I am, which is why I find so many flipping sinkers. But just not a lot of bottles.
So then, oh, sorry.
No, you're right. Go for it.
I was just going to say, when you were saying 150 years, so you probably get this asked all the time, and I may have asked it at one point, but for people watching, a few more people here. Zach Bartlett, hello.
Hello.
And Dawn wrote a couple things here. Found out 1800s, I think, at the state and took it. They were magnet fishing. Okay. Told Sean if he needed homes for his bottles, I could help him out.
So generous of you, Dawn.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I have so many in behind. I wish I could show you guys in behind my computer is like a whole row of bottles, all my old ones.
Wow.
And Ralph, greetings from California. Hey, Ralph.
What time is it in California at the moment?
They're 4 hours behind me in Canada, and it's 5:08 p.m. there. So
Wow,
yeah, yeah,
good
we're
time.
14 hours difference. I think it's always funny whenever I message you. I'm like, oh yeah, she's asleep, or I'm asleep when you message me.
Well, quite often it's like I'll message you when I'm getting up and you're going to sleep, or vice versa. We seem to catch each other in the transition each time we message, which is really really funny.
Yeah. So yeah, oldest thing you've found.
Would probably be, I think it was a young Queen Victoria sixpence, and I don't know the actual year of the coin.
Yep.
All I could make out was just a really thin bust of like the youngest Queen Victoria
Yep.
image that they used. So it puts it at about the 1860s,
Wow.
which, and that was in my area too, which sort of
Wow.
predated where I live, being
Wow.
settled. So obviously it's been carried down years
Yeah.
later, but yeah, it was pretty
That's that's
cool.
the, that's the cool thing about coins or bottles is like the journey that they took to get to the place that you end up finding them.
Mm,
That's why I love. I don't know if I have any. Yeah, don't have any clay pipes, but that's clay pipes are one of my favorite things.
yeah.
Because I always think about the guy or girl, sailor smoking on some kind of old schooner. And I just watched this movie, The Lighthouse, with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, and they in that movie they filmed it in Nova Scotia actually. And
Wow.
then there's a scene where they have the clay pipe and a bottle. I don't know if I have the bottle here. They have two props basically that I have found in Nova Scotia, and they're using them in this scene. And it's set in the 1800s. So while I was watching it, I took out the pipe and I had the bottle. And then that's what I just love is like just the history that is connected to these items. It's like so quick
Mm,
that you can find history about them, and you can learn a lot about what people used to be like. Um,
absolutely. And even just the what ifs, that coin, for example, how did that get there?
yeah.
Who was carrying it? How old
Mm,
were they?
yeah.
Yeah, you could
And
just think about it forever.
and coins over time, like I'm not, yeah, again, like I'm not a metal detector, but over time in dirt or exposed to the elements, well, you said they got thin. It was thin, the coin.
Yeah, so it depends on the environment it was lost in. There's all sorts of factors too. If
Mhm,
I find an older coin, like an old copper coin, in a modern park, it's
mhm,
probably going to be wrecked because of the fertilizers and the chemicals they've used to treat the ground will just eat
mhm.
away at the coin. Likewise, beach finds, anything in coarse sand or that's been subject to tidal movement,
Yeah.
that's going to wear right down. However, there's some beaches I go to that have a clay base, and if the coin's been wedged in the clay for years and years,
Mm,
it's potentially perfectly preserved.
right.
So, yeah, it's kind of a luck of the draw thing. Knowing the environment you're hunting in will generally give you an idea as to the condition of the stuff you're going to find.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's every day's an adventure with these hobbies, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, honestly, every time you go out, and I find on the days that I have this weird thing that's happening where if I go to places that, excuse me, where I just don't know if I have a good feeling about something, if something will happen. But if there's places where my spirit is just like not, if I'm not into it, I usually end
Mm,
up with nothing. It's interesting, and it's like every time, like I'm not really, yeah, too like spirituals, that kind of stuff, but it's just
yep.
like it's interesting how when your mindset is like just gung ho, it seems like that's when
Mm,
stuff like is unearthed or you find it. And anyway, I can't even describe like I'm so happy that I got into this. Like I loved it. I was in it to it since I was a kid from my dad, but like the pandemic was just kind of opened me up to this world that it's like I finally found, aside from my photography, like a passion that like it's all I think about all the time. And I
mm,
love sharing it with people because not everyone with the underwater stuff, not everyone can do it.
mhm,
Because you have to be like strong swimmer,
yep.
not afraid of deep water. Um, and it's just the rest of the stuff you can figure out. But yeah, I sometimes don't even know the words. It just like brings me happiness. Know if at the end of the workday I can get out and be in the water for an hour.
It's exceptionally calming. I mean,
mm,
as you know, like I'm relatively new to the underwater side of things. Used to, bodyboard and all of that as a kid, and just had a really long hiatus from the water.
yeah.
Finally getting back into it, but yeah, these days it's just such a
Mm,
calming and grounding experience, and I just know that if I've had a stressful week,
mm.
as soon as I dip underwater, I'm not listening to anyone, and I can just tune into the environment around me.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. I mean, I don't care if I go out and just find sinkers
Yeah.
underwater, just because I'm having that time.
Yeah. And I find, or here, I'll just say, sorry, I got someone here
Yeah.
saying, DJ Firefox, hi, Sean, I'm a huge fan of yours. That's awesome. That's cool. It makes me feel weird when people like, I just is like, oh man. But thank you so much. New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. Nice. I love New Glasgow. I have a question. What the heck do you do with all the bottles you find? That's the second most common question. I bring home everything in my videos and on my Instagram. I take it all with me. Those pictures where I take the time to group all the bottles together. Like I do it to show, hey, A, how much we're polluting, and B, just to show the amount of trash. And then, yeah, I'll take all of it with me. And I sort it out at my house, recycle all the modern stuff, and then hold on to stuff that I find interesting. So, yeah, I just did a massive actually purge from our garage because I had bins and bins of bottles that smelled awful because they're from the ocean. And
Don't they smell gross when you pull
oh,
them out?
man.
Oh,
And I smell
yeah.
like that too. Like that's the thing. Like I have to have showers all the time because it's just like I'm in these areas that no one would swim, that are actually cleaner than you think. But a lot of people are like, you swim in the Halifax Harbor? Because we used to like pollute our harbor for 20, 25 years. And now I'm swimming in it, the only person in there. But yeah, so so all the bottles I recycle most of them. I keep the interesting ones, and if I think they're of value to the museum, I will contact the museum locally and say, hey, are you guys interested in this? But most times they haven't been interested in bottles. So yeah.
See, at least with me finding coins and little things, I can usually just put them in a box, which is pretty much the state of my collection at the moment. I've been meaning to get a proper display cabinet, and
Yeah.
like you see all these YouTubers, and they'll have
Oh,
their treasure room or their treasure wall.
yeah.
I've got a couple of boxes, guys. It's really not that exciting at this point. People do keep asking me to make a video of my finds, and I will as soon as I can actually show them. Yeah.
I would love a bottle display case. There's a couple channels of guys who have beautiful bottle displays, and it's like, but it's like the bottles they find. Like I find a lot of the bottle diggers.
Mm-hmm.
The bottles are just in better shape being in the ground than they are being in the sea for 100 years, because they just get like, I wish I had those ones as well. I'm not as prepared as I should have been, but I have like two bottles that I found. One was in a lake for 100 years. One was in the ocean. And you could actually tell, you could see the crazy difference of what it does. And then I have bottles that I found in the ground in the past. They look as new as the day they were made. And so they've got these beautiful display cabinets for all these like bottles. And it's hard to find like old bottles underwater because tides, we've got the highest tides in the world here in Nova Scotia, Bay of Fundy. They can rise anywhere from 14 to 28 feet in a matter of 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the 7 wonders of the world. And so I don't dive on that coast where those tides are because it's dangerous. So I dive on our coast where the tides are a little more predictable. Yeah, but I don't know how I got to tides from bottle displays, but yeah, I want to set up something that I can properly showcase, because right now they're sitting on like windowsills, can't see it, all around the house, and then my most treasured bottles are behind the sink in our kitchen, where my kids can't get to them, or my animals. So
I was going to say, is that just so you can admire them every day when you go out to make your breakfast? Like,
yes, yeah. And then some I'm still trying to display. Like I just cleaned this one. This is like an inkwell stoneware that
yeah, it's beautiful.
I found recently, and again, it's just sitting on my desk. My no one can see
Well,
it.
in all fairness, it makes sense for an inkwell to be on a desk. That's relevant.
So I've been thinking about, with the pandemic and like traveling and stuff, and you've been kind of confined to where you've been. Are there places around Australia you want to get to that you haven't been able to yet? And are there places that you would like to travel to in the future? Because I think that your YouTube channel is going to explode and be super famous, and you're gonna be a rock star. And
don't know about Rockstar.
but it's just like, yeah, I wondered if there's places that you would like to go, and like anywhere in the world to go metal detect, that you have an interest in.
Yeah, look, I definitely have an interest in Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan. I'd be kind of the last person in my immediate family to actually get to Japan. My mother's been there, my sister's been there.
Yeah.
I've missed out every time. But yeah, I would really love to go over there and have a dig. I
Mm.
don't know what they're like permission wise. I know certainly there's beaches that are okay. I'd be catching up with my buddy Mermaid Treasure Hunter, for example. She's over in
Yeah.
Okinawa. Um, but yeah, that would be on the list. Certainly, like the US was, I'll be completely frank, was never on my radar. Um, no offense, but now that my primary viewership is actually from the US, like I'm learning about all these cool places
Mm.
and getting to know these really nice people, and it would be really good to just one day just tick a few boxes over there as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Canada.
Yeah.
Canada
Okay.
can't go without saying Canada.
Yeah. It's we've got some cool places to go, and it'd be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, like I've talked about someday. It'd be really neat to link up in the future,
Yeah.
if at all possible, and do something. But yeah, there's a lot of places I would like to go. To go diving, especially in Europe. And like,
Mhm.
it's just Bondi, Treasure Hunter Lee. He's like one of my favorites, and just seeing the stuff that he's pulling, safes out of dirty canals. It's just like, that just speaks to me so much. It's just like, and he's someone I've become friends with over the last year, and his friend Dennis, and all those guys. And
Yeah.
I'm just a sucker for anything water based.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Sure.
I'll get in and look. Um, the States are interesting because there's a lot of like Civil War history that's pretty cool. That
Mm.
interests me. And a lot of these YouTubers down there, they find like muskets and cannonballs, and then you see all the bigger YouTubers like finding murder weapons and guns, which I've not used in a YouTube title yet. I have stayed away. I've stayed away
I've
from some of that.
had so many opportunities. Like I know you've found a gun. I've never found a gun, and living in Australia, I'm probably not likely to ever find a gun. But so many rusty knives and just
Mm,
really questionable items that,
yeah.
yeah, I probably could have used the murder weapon line a few times. I have jokingly said it in a few videos when I've found things, especially when you find this rusty,
Oh,
nasty fishing knife that's just, yep.
yeah. How big are
Yeah.
what's the biggest knife you found?
Um, Probably about, I don't know, I can't, I'm reversed on the thing here, but yeah, fairly large.
Yeah, okay.
Um, but like it was trash. It was rusted, so I got rid of it straight away.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I don't really want to be carrying that stuff with me.
No, no. And yeah, when I found the gun, that was completely rusted out, and the police took it, and they couldn't determine if it had been used
Yep.
in a crime. Which my wife and I were sad. She's into true crime, like major true crime. So she was hoping it was associated with something that she could have like learned about. But yeah, they couldn't determine if it had been used at all, and then they destroyed it. It was a rusty gun. I was hoping to have it back and it'd be on my.
Yeah.
But anyway, gun. I don't know.
You just have to print a screenshot of the day and just up on the wall.
Yeah, people are. I don't know. Guns. Yeah, they're just. That's the only one I've ever found. I found knives. Thankfully, knock on wood, I've never found a body. Yeah. I'm. It's on my mind all the time. So.
Did you see I had a recent interview. I think you might have read through it actually. The body part that we found.
Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah. I should probably fill in the viewers on what I'm talking
yes,
about. But
please do.
I went metal detecting on a beach, and this is several months ago now. And when I arrived at this beach, I noticed there were police actually patrolling the beach, and it was only myself and them on the beach. That was it. And as I've hopped onto the sand, they've come towards me, and I'm going, "Oh, okay, what's going on here?" And they basically said that they were looking for a suspected body part that had been reported as being on the beach. And of course, me jokingly said, "Okay, well, if it's got a wedding ring," because they thought it was a hand. So I said, "Okay, if it's got a wedding ring on, I'll probably find it." So I just kept going about my business.
Oh my goodness.
And then eventually, I think it was probably an hour in, the police have started coming back towards me. I could see they were holding a little bag, and they've gone, "Yeah, look, we've found the item in question, and have a look." And
wow.
I think what it might have been in the end, look, it was convincing, but I think it might have actually been a part of a pig, which some fishermen will use as bait for larger catches.
Okay.
Like a pig knuckle, or I don't know.
Okay.
But,
I've been in some places where I found bones, but it's like they're from deer, I think.
Yeah.
But the first time last year when I didn't know what I was looking at, I saw like one giant bone, and I was just like, "It's like, what do I do here? What do I do?" And then I started seeing more of them. And I was like, okay, if someone was getting rid of a body, they probably wouldn't have put it in this like public area. And and then I looked it up later, and it was animal bone, so that was good.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right? Yeah, I have found explosives before underwater near the Department of National Defense base in the Halifax Harbor. They were called marine markers, and they're like, it's hard to like show scale here, but they're like a phosphorus silver material, and I didn't know what I was looking at. You can actually see it in one of my old videos where I pick it up with my glove and then put it back down, and I had no idea what I was looking at. And then someone on YouTube left a comment, it's like, "You have to report that." I was like, "Oh, what?" And then like the bomb squad came. I had to give the location, and they removed it because the Navy uses these things to they burn underwater. So they can and I'm really glad I wore a glove. And treasure hunting New York. Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. We are. Hope you're doing well. Like you said, if you do these things long enough, you're going to stumble across the more unpleasant side of life, of things. But I always, when one of my favorite places to dive is near the bridges in Halifax. We've got two like suspension bridges that connect our Dartmouth to Halifax.
Yep.
And like people have like sadly, jumped from them, and you hear about it. You don't really hear about it in the news, but you hear it through people, and just like, oh man, I just don't want to. It's always on my mind.
For sure.
Yeah, because I don't know what I would do. Like,
see, we don't really have, like, we've got a couple of bridges where I am, but like they're tiny little rural bridges. There's nothing nothing twin lane or anything like that. Like it's
Yeah. These are super high, long bridges. So, but
Yep.
anyway, enough about that. That's too sad. Too sad. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of what other things. I mean, I've been following, like I said, for the last year and a half now, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Um,
nearly that.
what do you like? You kind of mentioned it earlier that you said you just feel like just peace when you're like doing this and when you're out. How long? Like we see the finished edit of your adventure, but how long do you like? What's your schedule and what's when do you get to go out and how do you make it happen?
Oh, my schedule is just like this. It's all over the place. So I work a customer service job, but it's not a 9 to 5. I could be starting at 6 in the morning. I could
Mhm.
be ending at 8 at night. It's just really, really erratic. So it's a case of, okay, I know when my work shifts are. All right, so that leaves this, this, and this day. But then I have to look at the weather. I have to look at the tides. I have to look at the swell.
Yeah.
For the beach detecting side of things, at least. And by the time you knock out all of those variables that prohibit you from getting into the water, there's very little time left.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm lucky if I've got half a day in a week,
Mm.
which basically means if I can't film something decent, there is no video for that week.
Yeah.
So that's why on other weeks where I might have a couple of days opportunity in a row, I will just go nuts. I will just film like crazy
Yeah.
because, as you would know, not every video that you film makes it.
Mm.
Sometimes there's just nothing, and like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how you package it, it's still nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've had a
agree.
few of those lately.
Yeah, me too. I've gone out at least 10 times. No one's seen anything from those dives, and I haven't seen anything
Mm,
from those dives.
yeah.
But I have a list of places I have to cross off my list, and just know I'll never have to do it again. And
Mm,
that's just part of the game, right? And I'm sure
yeah.
you know. Although with beach detecting, I guess it's kind of the same with underwater because the tides affect everything as you and swell,
Yes.
and so
Yep.
you could go to the same beach like 2 days in a row, and it could be very
It's
different.
different. Yep.
Yeah. So what's been the beach that you've been on? Is there any beaches like you don't have to give the location, obviously, if people are um, but is there any places that you've been where you've been on the same beach like a few days in a row, and it's just like it keeps spitting out stuff, and you've missed
Yeah.
it before?
Oh, yeah, look, I've had a few that'll keep spitting stuff a couple of days in a row, but also just touching on how significantly they can change.
Mm.
Right in the early days of my YouTube, there was a video I published, and it was about detecting a creek. And I found so many, my husband Al was with me as well. We were both detecting, and we just found coins upon coins upon coins. We
Yeah.
found a couple of late 1800s coins, like stuff that we'd never seen on this beach before,
Okay.
because we were seeing like this creek had carved a path that we'd never seen before. And I
Wow.
thought, great. We only had a couple of hours, so we couldn't believe our luck when we saw it. We just hid it for as long as we could. And then I thought, okay, I've got a little bit of time off the next day. I'm going to go down, I'm going to equip my detector exactly how I want it for those sorts of conditions. And I got down to the sand and the creek was gone. So
Wow.
there'd just been a big swell overnight and it just sanded it completely back in. So it's just incredible how quickly something can change. So
Mm.
these days, I'm now in the habit of, if I get onto a familiar beach, I'll
Mhm.
actually spend a couple of minutes just standing at a high vantage point
Yep.
and just looking left to right, maybe even comparing to old photos if I need to, just
Mhm.
seeing if there's anywhere that's exposed that hasn't before. And
Yeah.
I will just beeline for that spot if I see it.
Yeah. And is there anything you know is out there that you want that you haven't you're looking for?
Ooh, the bucket list. Yeah, look, there's plenty of stuff I want, but I don't know how much of it will be in the area I live in. So I think traveling's definitely going to have to become a part of this.
Yeah.
There is a type of coin that you can get in Australia called a gold sovereign,
Mhm.
and they were produced in sort of well, they were produced by the UK before we had our own as well, but sort of 1800s roughly.
Yep.
And they are a gold coin.
Wow.
And I don't think I'll ever find one in my area
Okay.
because I think they wound up in the early 1900s. I don't know the exact timeline, but
Mhm.
sort of predating my area. However, a friend of mine lives in an area where they're known to have been found. So the idea is eventually I'll do a road trip and we'll just try our luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would definitely be a bucket lister for me. But yeah, coins are kind of my,
Yeah.
well, not specialty, but my love, I guess.
Yeah.
So basically filling those gaps in my coin album is always fun.
Yeah, definitely. What's the oddest thing you've found, or one that's made you? Is there anything you found that's made you like laugh or think it's funny? Like, as you know, like I find dolls all the time, and it's like I know that you hate them, and
Ah.
that makes me laugh because they're so disturbing. Seeing anything human underwater is just wrong.
It's just creepy, man. I don't know how you do it. But like it is funny how you get these trends in items. Like I don't go out to find ammo,
Yeah.
but I find a ton of it in the course of my detecting and in all different locations too. Like I'll find them in the middle of a playground.
Oh,
Um
weird.
like old,
Yeah, but
sort of
yeah,
predating the playground, but yeah, they just seem to follow me. Golf balls, as you
yeah,
know, everywhere,
yeah,
absolutely everywhere. I've actually shattered a few of my recent hunts. Won't make it to video because pretty much the first find in every one of those hunts was a golf ball.
yeah. Wow.
Just, yeah. So I even found one underwater again a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, golf balls are everywhere. I've actually found golf clubs recently.
Wow.
I found, yeah, a putter in the ocean once, and it was in the most random spot. I was like, I would expect like a driver, someone maybe throws it because they were angry, but a
Yeah.
putter, I was like, I think I still have that.
Maybe
Uh,
someone was giving up the sport because they were frustrated with it. So, they did the whole turf into the ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's too funny. So
I
yeah,
have to admit, golf invoked that sort of reaction in me too. I probably would have thrown my clubs. It wasn't the sport for me.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I don't want to take up, too much of your time because your day is starting and my day is ending.
Yep.
Um, so I don't know. Is there any questions you had or things that you wanted to say? Or I definitely want to, like, everyone watching, if you haven't checked out her channel, please do. It is very calming to watch. It's one of my
Thank you.
favorite things to watch. Um,
Thank you. I'm
you're welcome.
working on a really calming video at the moment, actually.
Ooh,
I've just started editing my next one, and it's going to be wading in the water.
yeah,
And it was really quiet on that day, so there was low wind, not
yeah,
too many people on the beach, so it's just going to be just calming little splishes and splashes.
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
Looks like I might have a question in the chat here,
Oh,
actually.
yes.
Mission from Anthony. Mish, in the States, we had the Civil War that most of detectorists love to explore. Is there anything in Australia's history that you all focus on and have a bucket list? So yeah, as I mentioned, a gold sovereign coin would be amazing. There's also what we call half sovereign coins. So again, they're gold, a little bit smaller. They're one thing I've not gotten, which a lot of detectorists do end up finding in Australia, is what we call a rising sun. So it's an army badge, Australian Army badge or an
Mhm.
Anzac badge. I haven't actually found one of those yet, but I think that's probably because I haven't been hitting up the sort of army training sites either.
Yeah,
But yeah, still on the wish list. Um, I don't know. There's so many things. There's another type of coin called a crown, which only came out for I think it was like 1936 and 1937, and
okay.
it's extremely low mintage. So very unlikely, but it's a huge coin if I can find one.
Right.
So that would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's
yeah.
really, yeah.
Hi, John. That's 65 bug nut in the chat. It's a regular viewer of mine. He's
Oh,
awesome.
right on. Cool. Hello. I'll say hello. Yeah, that's I don't know. I don't really know what else. I mean, I talk to you all the time. I'm just trying to like think, okay, people are
Well,
watching. Is there anything
I
they want
guess
to know?
what are the plans for you now? Because I know it's getting really cold over your way in the water.
Yeah.
Like, are you? Have you had a thought as to how you'll carry your content over winter? Like, I loved a video you did a while back, and I can't think it was some time ago now, and
Mhm.
you basically just went exploring. You were doing a bit of rubbish cleanup as you went, and yes, you found another creepy doll bit, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
basically went along a shoreline and you were just looking for the cool stuff that had just washed up on shore.
Yeah.
And I actually thought that was really cool, and that was a really good workaround for when it was too cold or
Yeah.
conditions were unfavorable to get in the water.
It's yeah, well this part, yeah, the northern hemisphere, Nova Scotia, yeah, it gets like the water will probably stay warm. I'll probably be in it till mid-December.
Hmm.
It'll dip down to about 10 Celsius, 9 Celsius. But I have a thick suit on and maybe, not much brains, so I'll my brain's
Love it.
frozen. And yeah, I'll go in the water as long as I can. But then January, like my face literally freezes and I can't. I'll just get a
Yeah.
headache and it's not. So
Yeah, that's not worth it.
no, it's not. I've thought one thing I've thought about. I have to get some better. I get my filming gear, but would be to find my top 10 bottles and then do a video about them. Like do a really like historical background check on these and like
Hmm.
present them and maybe like how the history of them and try to make it more like a documentary
Yeah.
about that. That's one idea. The beach combing definitely, but January, February here in Nova Scotia are like just covered in snow.
Mm,
We have like 4 feet of snow, and it's
yeah.
just you can't do anything
Yeah.
really. So um, maybe I'll do. Usually, what I did last year around that time was like I engaged more on YouTube with people.
Yeah.
It's fun in doing stuff like this. Would I think an interview series? This is the first trial, and I think it's gone pretty good.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
would be to do an interview series with the people that I find the most interesting on YouTube and just
Yeah.
share because it is a community, and we all like doing the same things. And I think I just really like collaborations and learning from each other. And oh, Kern River Riches, hello. They're a great YouTube account as well. Um, and yeah, so I just love the community from here, and again, meeting you in person for the first time
Yeah.
after talking to you for so long is funny. But yeah, it is super nice to finally meet online in person.
Yeah, it's awesome. Oh, look, we're getting all the people now.
Oh man, you missed all our
Hello.
conversation.
That's all right. They can go back and watch.
Jay Steele's Adventure and Variety. Oh, that is one of the most encouraging guys. He's always him and this other guy named Tom always like to see who's first on one of my videos.
I have noticed that
Yeah,
actually.
and that always makes me smile when I see that, and that's just a lot of I love that. And Pace Diver is another person, Nova Scotia. They're a diver, and
Yep.
learned a lot from them as well. So yeah, there's just like I find everyone's really like everyone I've met so far has been really cool and willing to share info. A lot of people send me. Oh yeah, I had another question. One more question.
Yeah.
Locations. I know you don't want to reveal all your favorite locations and all that, but like I find with what I'm doing, because I have the angle of like cleaning it up
Yep.
and a bit of like treasure hunting, it's like people are more willing to be like, hey, go check out this spot, check out this spot, check out this.
Mm.
It's not really so much secret. And a lot of these areas are like, public access wharves, or, anyone could go look.
Yep.
So I just like, do people ever message you and say like, hey, you should go check out this spot to metal detect, or is it mostly you're doing your own research?
It's 99% of the places I go to are my own research,
Yeah.
or it's been a YouTuber buddy and has invited me over and we've done a collab. speaking of which, I've got an in-person collab coming up. I can't
Oh.
say anything much on it yet, but it is a familiar face on my channel.
Awesome.
Yep. Just a little teaser to throw out there. But yeah, no, I've had a few tips from people. Of course, detectorists being as we are, there's a few that'll say, "Oh, please don't come over my way. Leave something for me." But yeah, I think we're a little more closed off. And certainly for me, it's not so much been like with the not revealing my locations. It's not because I'm finding amazing things, because I'm really not. In the grand scheme of detectorists, I don't find a lot of gold. I find some cool silver stuff. None of it's high value, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more of a, like I'm a mum.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in the area I live in, and some things need to be kept private, I think.
Yeah.
That's just me personally.
No, for sure.
Yeah, but look, certainly with the way the channel's going, I'm really grateful. It affords me the opportunity to go and travel now. So I'm finding more and more I am actually filming completely off-site, and I'm driving an hour, 2 hours to get to a location now.
That's awesome.
And then next year I'm looking at traveling sort of interstate as well. I've got a few friends lined up and a few sort of early talks going on, which is totally awesome.
That's so cool. Like, yeah, it's YouTube is, I've learned so much about this, and I know we've talked a lot about, you've listened to my complaints about the YouTube, and I'm just like, oh, maybe I should stop bothering her. But
look, it's easy to get in that rut. It really is.
It is. And it's just like, because this time last year, I just like doing it because and I still like doing it. I don't mean to say I don't, but I started seeing it as an avenue it could be a way to make money, to cover gear, travel, all that stuff. And if I'm doing it all the time, might as well make some ka-ching, and, but so learning how YouTube works is like, I've been so close to that threshold that they've set. For those of you watching who are currently trying to get your channel monetized, or if you have, 4,000 is watch hours is the threshold. And I'm at check today, it's like 3,905 hours. And it's like so close, I can taste it. And it just kind of keeps going up and down. And, you told me about the rolling year average where they, stuff. So it's like,
yeah. So just to sort of give people an idea of what Sean's talking about here too. Yes, YouTube's throwing ads on pretty much every channel now, regardless of whether they're monetized or not. So it doesn't make a great deal of difference to the viewer now.
Yeah.
But yeah, for us as creators to qualify to receive money from the advertising that presents on our channel, we've got to meet a couple of criteria. And the first one being 1,000 subscribers. And the second one being this watch hours. So people need to have watched your content for a collective total of 4,000 hours. But it's not just a from day dot thing. It's a rolling snapshot of the previous 12 months. So poor old Sean is like this close.
Yeah.
So basically, if you want to help a creator that's in Sean's position out where, they're very close to being monetized, just simply watching a couple of videos. If you get a spare chance, just watch a couple of videos. And it just helps them get over the line. And then obviously when a creator's starting to receive some money for what they're doing, it gives them the opportunity to put fuel in their car to go to these places, to, pay for that time that they're spending editing the videos. And it kind of snowballs for them there. And I'm finding I'm now, because I'm a little bit further ahead, I'm actually getting to the point where I can now start rolling back the amount of ads I put in my videos, because I'm earning enough that I don't have to bombard my viewers every 5 minutes with an ad, which is really nice to be able to finally give back. So I do apologize to all my viewers who've been sitting through a relentless amount of ads while I built it up to a threshold. Everyone's been really kind and patient about that. But that's kind of a... Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it'd be funny if like over time it just shows you like driving like in these like fancy cars and Ferraris and
No, I think that's more Nora Svet. I can picture her going down the street in a Lamborghini before her videos. No offense, Laura. Nora, she's a good friend of mine. Laura, there you go.
yeah. So yeah, that's the situation I'm at, and like, and I've had like a lot of news coverage, which has definitely brought eyeballs, but it's niche. It's very niche, and I mean, niche is good on YouTube, as I've learned. The more niche you
Absolutely.
are, the better. Actually, it is. But there's just like some YouTubers that have been doing it for so long, and they've just got, you know, though it's, you know, finding that variety in your day, and you know, there's not too many YouTubers that I know in Nova Scotia, so that's hard to like. I can't really collab on those. I just know people who are interested in diving who want to join me and stuff, and that's fine. But you know, looking to grow the channel right now, trying to get it done before Christmas if possible. Like, it's not that many hours. It's just like, how do you, you know, I just don't want to lose. I've got a couple that I've looked at that are a year old or coming up on a year. I'm like, oh man, can't lose that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, I still do it
It's
anyway.
hard, but as you know, yeah, we
Yeah.
just keep on our grind. We keep doing what we're doing. And we're doing it for the love of the hobby at the end of the
Yes.
day too. So,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
if we can recoup funds from that, then great. That's awesome. That's a bonus. But,
Yeah.
you know, end of the day, we're still going to be making
Yes.
cool stuff for you guys.
There, for sure, and there's more value in like, I just, the peace of mind when I'm in the water, just my break from reality of life, and knowing that I'm cleaning up lakes and oceans is worth more than any money Google could ever, you know, give me.
Yeah.
And,
We got a question in the comments there too,
oh
which is
yeah,
from John, asking us, what's the best tip that you got when you first started detecting? Or in Sean's case, it's going to be bottle diving. But, best tip's a tricky one. Get a set of these headphones. Headphones is one of the best tips. Some of the signals I dig, I would not hear if I didn't have a set of headphones on. And generally speaking, they kind of discourage the people walking past you to go, how you going? What's the best thing you've found? When did you get into the
right,
hobby? What brand detector is that? I've always wanted to go detecting.
right.
Yeah.
How
I'm
deep?
not.
How deep are some of these things?
Uh, the deepest things I've put. Well, actually, there's a funny story. So when I first started detecting,
Mhm.
I was on this flat open beach, and I had just a really inexpensive detector that didn't tell me a whole lot of information. Just, you know, there's a signal or there's not a signal, basically. And I got this really loud signal, and of course, like I had a little hand beach scoop. I didn't even have a full scoop, so I'm digging like an absolute mad woman. And I reckon I got like 5 foot deep with this hole. And it turned out that it was like a part of an old boat ramp. Like, it was a massive girder. And that's the only
Oh,
reason why I got the signal that deep. Typically, a detector of that size would not get a signal that deep, but it was wet sand. It was an enormous target, and it obviously just conducted.
yeah.
But I felt like a right idiot when I found that. But yeah, typically
Mhm.
I will dig a bit over a foot deep.
Yeah.
If it's dry sand conditions, I might go a bit further. But if you're
And
digging in wet sand, it just
yeah.
starts packing in on itself.
And having those headphones, so you've done it before without headphones, and it's like,
I can't stand
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, I've turned around in my car and gone home when I've forgotten my headphones,
wow,
just because it's that make or break for
yeah,
me. You know, like, I can't hear very well as it is too. That's not something
yeah,
I
yeah,
say on the channel, but yeah, I'm
yeah.
yeah, a little bit harder
Um,
hearing.
for me, like the best tip is like, you just have to really have that desire to go on the days you don't want to go. For
Mm,
if you're, whether you're like, some of the best stuff I've ever found has been on days, again, like where I've not wanted to go and do anything, and I forced myself to do it. It's kind of like what I was saying at the very beginning of the conversation. It's like, but and then just getting there and having that drive to look. And then like bottle diving, yeah, you just gotta. Gear is important. You got to have like good fins, a good mask, um, and the ability, yeah, and just the willingness to try out places that could be nothing.
Yep.
Because if you just go to like a lot of people are like, why don't you just go to these like public swimming areas, or it's got to be like stuff, and just like the best things have been found in the most random places.
That's it. And I actually get a little overwhelmed if I hit up places while they're popular.
Yeah.
I don't like having a million going past me. Like a
Yeah.
big part of this hobby for me is mental. So yeah, as you say, like I like going sort of off the beaten track, and I wonder if there's anything out here. Just because you're breaking away from everything, like it's just as good
Yeah.
for you as it is for any potential video.
Absolutely. Yeah, but that's really important thing to me, like, yeah, to touch on, is like the mental health of this hobby is amazing. It's like on a personal note, like I quit drinking alcohol January 5th, 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is the longest I've gone in my life, and I'm done for good. And I wasn't like an alcoholic or anything, but I was just drinking more. I wasn't happy with stuff, and like, so that happened, and then that opened up all this new energy, and I had to get it out because I'm a very active guy. And then the diving came along, and I was like, this is something I can put all of that energy into. So Saturdays and Sundays and evenings are now just like when I'm ready, I can go, and that was a game changer. So
That's amazing.
yeah, I love sharing that, and it's like, it's not for everyone, so I don't want to push my own thing on, but it's been one of the best things I've ever done, and I've converted all that time into diving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
well, look, if you're gonna have a vice of some sort, it may as well be one that does
yeah.
your body and your mind some good,
Yeah.
rather than just a means of just sort of blanking out. You
Yes,
know? Yeah.
exactly. And I've lost a ton of weight. I'm probably the thinnest I've been since I was like 20 years old. And
I
so
can't
that's
say
been
the same. Yeah, look, we've just come out of winter.
yeah, your winter, your
Rocking the
winter
mum
there.
bod.
So you're going into your guys' spring?
Yeah, we're mid-spring at the moment.
Okay. What's spring like in Australia? Is it warm?
Um, yeah, well, where I am, I'm down on the southern edge of Australia, so
Okay.
typically colder than what you would see in any tourism footage of our country.
Yeah.
So it's been a particularly wet and cold spring.
Yeah.
Not been pleasant at all, really. So we're
Yeah.
finally, these last couple of days, we've gotten our first few hints of warm, summerish
Yeah.
weather, and it's just been delightful. You can probably even see I'm quite red at the moment. It's like my first sunburn of the season. So the warm weather is coming, which is really exciting. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's that's funny. Yeah, our winters are just kind of like, oh man, just can't wait for it to be over. Does it snow there?
it doesn't snow where I am. I'm a little bit too low altitude, but
Yeah.
certainly for a day trip, I can travel. It's probably, yeah, it'd be sort of a half day drive to
Yeah.
get to an alpine region.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've certainly got a lot of accessible regions that are just stunning. We're one of the better states in the country for alpine
Right.
tourism.
How many states are there in Australia? 4?
Oh, now you're giving me a test. I should probably know this. It's like 7 or 8, but
7 or 8. Okay. We have
yeah.
provinces
Oh,
here.
that's embarrassing.
I wish could we cut that out of the live broadcast? No.
Just-
Just snip that out. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, I don't know. I have really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. I
This
think,
was really good.
yeah,
Yep.
this was fun.
What time is it over there now?
It is 10 p.m.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, it's midday here, so I'm contemplating lunch and you're contemplating sleep.
Yeah, I know. I'm starting to get tired. Like I'm always tired on days I dive. So I just like, yeah, I did get in tonight, and then I wanted to do this tonight because I've been wanting to do this for so long. And yeah, I'm just like, I'm in my basement right now of our house, and I think my family's asleep. So,
see, basements are just an unknown concept to most Australian houses. It's just not a thing out here.
no basements.
No, not many houses have them. Yeah,
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know whether there's some sort of
Is it like
I don't know if
bungalows?
it's
Like,
got a few houses will have, we call them granny flats if you've got a semi-detached residence.
Yeah.
No, it's just not a common thing out here.
Okay.
That was a completely random fact to throw out.
No, that's what other random facts about Australia?
See, I know that, and not how many states we've got. So
Do you feel like I have an accent to you, or is it because like
I've
yours
worked
is
with
very
too many Canadians to notice it.
okay?
But
Because there's
I struggle to tell the difference between US and Canadian unless you guys say sorry or like.
One thing we say here is in Nova Scotia, especially, is somewheres, anywheres. We add S's onto the things, but that's stereotypical accents, kind of like Midwestern Canada, like the whole like a boot and all that stuff is just
okay.
That's not really a thing. But I've had some people hear my Nova Scotian accent and they'll think I have an accent, but like to me, it's like I hear the Australian accent. It's like very definitive.
It's very strong.
Very strong.
And I'm very, as far as Australians go, I'm very Australian with my accent. Like I've got a very nasally tight twang. There's some Aussies that have a lot more subdued accent than I do, but I think growing up out in the country, like when I say g'day at the start of my video, I mean it. Like I actually will say that to a random passerby. That's not just me trying to be extra Australian for YouTube. There's some things we don't say a lot, like people talk about Sheilas for ladies and stuff, like don't say that.
My knowledge of Australia is like Crocodile Dundee as a kid.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I mean, then when I was a child, we watched the movies, and then it's not Australia, it's New Zealand. But I just was a big fan of like Flight of the Conchords, obviously Lord of the Rings, all that stuff. But isn't there like I know we're getting totally off track now, but
go for it.
Is there like what's the relationship between like New Zealand and Australia? Is it like a friendly? Is it like
it's friendly?
Is it a brotherly thing, or is it?
We'll do the whole like it's very natural for Australians to sort of hate on their neighbours, but we do it in a fun way. We don't actually mean anything by it. We do have a bit of an us and them thing with New Zealand, but ultimately, like, there's plenty of cross tourism. We love each other. It's all good. But like I won't repeat sort of word for word what we call our mates, but quite often we'll call our mates quite derogatory terms.
Yes, I've heard
the more derogatory they are, the more we love them. So,
yes, I do know that. I have heard that, and I know we can't say it on the live stream. But...
and we do plenty of yeah, nah for no, nah, yeah for yes.
Yeah.
And we abbreviate everything because long words are just too hard for us.
Yes.
Yep. So this arvo, I'm going to the servo to get a snag. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep. And do you guys drive on the right side of the road or the left side of the road?
The left side of the road. And we have the metric system. So
yes.
There's that.
Wait. Yeah, metric. What's that? That's the so you measure things in pounds?
God, no. No, that's meters and...
Oh, sorry. Yes. You can clearly tell it's late here. Oh, my gosh.
That's okay. Yeah, no, kilograms, meters, centimeters.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And Celsius. Then Celsius. Yeah, Celsius. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain, it just misfired there, so.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But that is an interesting point, you know, like, because again, my audience is mostly US.
Yeah.
So it's been a real learning curve for me because I'm trying to, if I say something in meters, I'm trying to also add how many feet,
Yeah.
roughly, Celsius, Fahrenheit, that sort of thing. So I'm slowly learning how to convert.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I have to explain every time I'm wearing thongs that no, I'm wearing flip flops.
Yeah,
Because yeah,
that's a good one to clarify. That's a good.
yeah.
And that's a very different meaning in the rest of the entire world.
Is it really the entire world? Like, I
I
thought it was
think
just the
Australians are
US.
the only ones who call flip flops those things. Yeah, pretty
Okay.
sure. I don't think I've ever heard anyone here say that. So
Wow.
yeah,
I
yeah.
will keep clarifying that then. Because we are
Uh,
getting into summer weather. That's what I'm wearing.
that's too funny.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, I probably should get going.
No
But
worries.
this was so much fun. And thank you
Absolutely.
to everyone who commented. That was awesome. Does YouTube do they once the live stream is done, if anyone missed it, will there be an opportunity for me to save it, or is it like done and that's it?
I think typically by default, yes, it will save. Yes, people can watch it. I think you actually have to tick a different box if it's just a live stream and that's it. It's gone afterwards.
Yeah.
And it should give you the option to, you know, trim the start, trim the finish
Okay.
as well. So
So stuff like
yeah.
this and the whole
Yeah, stuff like this.
thongs that you.
No, no, keep that in. Keep that in.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, DirtFishMish, please go subscribe and watch her channel. You will not regret it. And yeah, thank you so much. This was awesome.
No worries. No, this was great fun and a good way to meet for the first time.
Yes, yes,
As I say,
definitely.
just throwing it out to the world.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. All
But
right,
these are all our friends anyway.
so I'm going to end the stream. So thank you everyone for watching. And yeah, maybe we'll have to do this again in the future. So,
For sure.
all right. See ya.
No worries, guys. See you later.